I'm back with my panel of experts. We're discussing the question, is there a link between psychiatric drugs and violent behavior? So, Dr. Joseph, it begs the question, are we expecting too much from a pill?
So we know from recent data that only 25% of these violent mass murder, these killings that are happening, are tied to true mental illness, such as schizophrenia, psychosis. So who are the people who are committing these crimes? These are people that Dr. Jordan presented. These are people with grudges, people who have psychopathic traits, and there's no pill for that. Early detection, prevention.
Prevention.
That's the key.
It's all about prevention.
So let me ask the panel this question then. As professionals, are your hands tied when it comes to identifying and notifying, right? Because there's a lot of patients out there capable of picking up a gun or using a bomb or poisoning the water and hurting a lot of people. If your hands are tied and you've identified the traits we just talked about, what do you do about it?
Sometimes it can feel like your hands are tied, and that's where having the training and having the skills really comes into play. Just 3 weeks ago, a young man came into my office, and because of my training, I was able to detect these nuances. And eventually, he did admit to having violent thoughts and intents to act out these thoughts against others.
Oh my.
And there were the early signs on social media, the social withdrawal, the changes in academics, just a bizarre behavior. And I was able to get that person help. But sometimes your hands are tied because without that concrete evidence and the training, you can't do anything about it.
She's an expert in being able to detect this stuff. The average physician, our hands are tied. We all know how to detect somebody that's holdable. It's when you could hold somebody against their will for 72 hours. But this intermediate zone, we have an instinct that somebody could be violent. It's the same thing as what the police say when they say, well, we can't do anything until he does something. Mental health providers, physicians, we are in the same boat. That intermediate, look, the kid that shot up Florida, he had a mental health team. It's when his mother died and he moved away from it that things unraveled. If that team could have done something to bring him back in, they could have kept him glued together. Treatment does work when they're in the proper hands. We've just got to keep them there.